Hey everyone, it's Andrew Fazekas, the Night Sky Guy, your host for this week's show, The Night Sky This Week, for August 22nd, 2022. I hope you're doing well. Got some time perhaps to do some sky watching this past week. I don't know. It was overcast a few times here this past week for us here in Montreal, where I am. It's late summer. We're going to be heading into September soon. Can feel the twinge. There's going to be a change in the season soon. And even if you're not feeling it on the ground, you can see it in the sky, that there are changes afoot in terms of the celestial objects that are visible in our night skies. So welcome. Glad you could join us. I've got the comments open for the chat. See folks tuning in from all over the world. It's really nice to see. I see fellow Canadians here too, from Ontario, from Nova Scotia. I see friends from the US, from Michigan and Connecticut. So nice to see all of you guys here. Thanks for joining. And this is what I'm here every week, is talking about what we can see in the night sky. Have you seen or heard about the auroras? I wanted to jump that right in with that. The northern lights were visible through many locations. Let me see if I can bring up my friends at spaceweather.com. Let me see here. They were really, on the ball in terms of predicting. I think it's from the NOAA folks there that are really doing a lot of that. Here's their website, spaceweather.com, that I go to. I don't know if you had a chance to see if you were in the right place at the right time, but right now the geomagnetic storms are considered over. NOAA forecasts say that the G1 class geomagnetic storms are possible on August 22nd still. That's today, Monday, if you're watching this live. It's still possible, but it says more than likely it's over. So I don't know, maybe we're not going to see anything for a few more days, but this is because of these sunspots that are on the surface of the sun. You can see here a close-up view. This is taken within the last few hours. Earlier on Monday, the 22nd, you can see a large class of sunspots here on the side of the sun. This is what's facing towards the Earth, and you can see there's two other ones here. And these flares from these sunspots can cause beautiful storm-like conditions. Here's an image near the Canadian border from Eli, I don't know how it's pronounced, Minnesota. So this is from Minnesota. Very interesting picture taken by Greg Ash. Just beautiful, beautiful photograph showing the very typical green colors of the auroras. So that's something, and many others. I invite you to go and check out their Aurora Gallery at spaceweather.com. Great outfit. love watching that because it kind of helps me tune into when there's something on its way. It makes things a lot easier for me, that's for sure, and I'm sure it would for you too. So auroras could be possible. We'll get more. We're heading into the fall season and spring season. For you, those of you in the southern hemisphere, this is really the classic time to see them. So yeah, put it in the comments if you did get to see anything regarding that. We're still heading towards the solar maximum, so yes, it's still an uptick, an upswing in terms of activity from the sun. Now, if we turn our attention to the skies above, I've got here the skies set up for early morning, actually. I wanted to show this because that's where the moon is currently early in this week. You can see the beautiful waning crescent moon. We're heading towards the new moon phase. And this is Tuesday, August 23rd. So on August 23rd, tomorrow, from this broadcast perspective, tomorrow morning, get up early on Tuesday morning. At dawn, this is what you will greet you a half hour before sunrise. You'll see the crescent moon, and then you'll see a very bright star underneath, very close to the horizon. That, in fact, is planet Venus. Beautiful. It's actually through a telescope. You would be able to see it mostly lit up. It looks like a gibbous moon, actually, with most of its disk illuminated. Really amazing. And remember, you're seeing highly reflected clouds that enshroud Venus, and that's what makes it so bright. Of course, being close to Earth as well. It's one of the closest planets. So it's a really nice sight of seeing the moon and then Venus down. It gets better than this. I'll just hold on. But Tuesday morning, if you look where this is, the moon is right in the middle of the constellation Gemini, the twins, and it's pairing up with the two brightest stars of Gemini. So this is the sight that'll greet you. If you're looking towards the east, you can see right there, east, there's northeast. So in the eastern direction, you'll see the moon. And if you look carefully enough, and if the skies are still, dark enough, we're talking dawn, you would see there the two bright stars. That's Castor and Pollux that are going to be there. Let me put on the names of the stars. So you can see Castor is up there, Pollux is up there, and these are a nice pair of stars. Really, they are. This is 51 light years away. Castor is, and Pollux is 34, almost 33.8 light years to be exact. So you're looking back in time with Castor over 50 years, half a century. And you're looking back almost 34 years in time when you're looking at Pollux and Castor. Really impressive. And just in comparison, if you see the moon, there's the moon right there next to these two stars. The moon is about 400,000 kilometers away, which means that the light takes just over a second to travel one way from the moon, that sunlight reflecting off the surface of the moon, to your eye. Now, another thing you could look for, which is kind of neat, is called earthshine. Now, earthshine is actually reflectivity, light off the clouds and the seas, the oceans from Earth back onto the surface of the moon, and may light up the dark side of the moon, the dark portion of the unlit portion, I should say, and you would see it. So that's when you can see the whole disk, despite seeing just the very bright crescent, you'll see the shape of the moon, the round shape, the darker unlit side. That you can see it. The reason for that is it's amazing. That sunlight bouncing off of the clouds and the oceans of the Earth and reflecting back onto that unlit portion of the moon, and you see that. It's just really just beautiful stuff. So do take advantage of that. The Gemini twins next to the moon on Tuesday, August 23rd. Now, if we move forward, again, this is for those of you that are willing to get up early morning. That's when this is all happening. If we move on to Wednesday, now it's a kind of a crooked line of Castor, Pollux, and the moon. And you can see the moon is heading closer to the sun, lower in the horizon, becoming more of a challenge to see. This is, again, Wednesday, 24th, August 25th. Look at that. The moon, whisker thin. Now it's a real challenge to see even the moon, but it'll be even closer to Venus. And if I just make this a little bit later, in the morning. Sunrise. This is the trick now, is waiting for the sunrise, but you don't want that dawn light to be too bright. But seeing both Venus and the moon, just beautiful. Thursday, August 25th. And if we move to the next day, you'll see even more interesting. The moon pops below Venus, and I would say it's almost impossible to see that. But so your last bet was probably Thursday. I would say that's my feeling. Thursday, August 25th. Try this. It's really cool. And if you have binoculars, and if it's dark enough, and look, if I darken this, let's say an hour before, let's do it for sunrise. I'm going to set it for sunrise. So that's sunrise. Look at that. Okay, so the sun is just going to be right here at the horizon, peeking over the horizon, really brilliant bright. There's Venus, there's the moon. This is August 25th. Now, if I go back an hour before sunrise, okay, you'll see the moon just next to what's called a star cluster. In this case, the specific name is the beehive cluster. It looks like a bunch of bees buzzing around in one clumpy mass. And it's really neat because what it is it's a beautiful cluster of stars. And it is 610 light years away. And it looks like this on a dark night. This is what it would look like. Really beautiful. 610 light years away. It's a cluster of over 200 stars, some 24 that are quite bright. You can see in this photograph taken through with an amateur telescope. Really just a beautiful sight. And with binoculars, you should be able to pick it out in the glow, but it needs to be kind of the light of the atmosphere has to be pretty dark. I would say, the darker the better to see it. But it's a challenge. You could try it, and it's just off to the side of the moon. Again, this is August 25th. So that's with the moon. You can see as we're heading to the end of the week, the moon is going to be getting closer to the sun. So if I just continue that, you could see the moon disappears. And again, this is in the morning. Now watch what happens. If we go to sunset and we go to the west, where the sun is setting in the evening, you'll see the moon pop up right there. And this is Saturday, August 27th. So August 27th, the thin crescent moon is now jumped into the evening skies onto the other side of the sun, and will be joining on Sunday little planet Mercury. So while we saw Venus in the early morning skies pair up with the moon, Mercury gets its chance to be with the moon on August 28th, Sunday. August 28th, Sunday evening. This is going to be a little tricky again because you want to catch it. Their window of opportunity is very slim because look at that. I'm going to zoom in. You want to catch the pair as it gets dark, but doesn't get lost in the horizon. So Mercury and the moon will be paired up. There's the tiny sliver of moon. Again, this is Sunday, August 28th. If you're willing to wait another day, by August 29th, on Monday, the moon will be higher up, easier to see, and you'll be looking for Mercury just below it. Scanning that sky with binoculars, best bet. That's what I would say. Try using binoculars for that. And you'll get the innermost planet. It's the most challenging planet to see with the naked eye. And I put that challenge out to you. Can you see little Mercury? Now, for this, again, you need a clear view towards the west. It's obvious. You can see from this presentation here that looking towards the west, Mercury is going to be pretty low to the horizon. So you need that clear view. No buildings, no trees, no hills, nothing there. As clear view down to the east, should say the west, as much as possible to get a chance to see this. So the moon will have switched into the evening sky by by Sunday actually, and then this is the view on Monday. But I also want you to note this. If I go into, just go back here, let the moon disappear. Finally, looking here in the evening, this week it's great because the moon is not in the evening sky, right? We've been talking about the moon being in the early morning, and it's only going to appear at the end of the week in the evening sky. So if we look at the evening sky a little bit, let it get dark here, you'll see two planets late in the evening. So this is around 9 o'clock. Let's go to 10 o'clock. Look at that. In the east or the southeast, so where the sun rises in that compass direction is where you want to look in the evening, right? I'm just saying, if you know in where you're observing from, where the sun sets and where the sun rises, you're going to get an idea of your compass directions. So looking towards the east, this is what you'll see all week long. The moon is going to be out of the sky, so it's a great time to see planets as well without the glare of the moon. So Saturn, the ring planet, is right there as well. You can see it's in the constellation Capricornus, and then there's the constellation Aquarius, the water bearer, and then just off to that is Pisces, the fishes constellation, another zodiac. All of these are zodiacal constellations, and look, that's where Jupiter is. Jupiter and Saturn are great pairing, two gas giant worlds, hundreds of millions of kilometers away from the Earth. They look like bright stars, but in fact, they are planets. And as you know, I'll just remind all of you, again, it just kind of blows your mind. I know you guys know this, but you're looking at Jupiter and Saturn. The planets look like stars. But you know the big difference between planets and stars, right? Planets do not produce their own light, visible light. And they are actually reflecting the sunlight. The same sunlight we see here on Earth. That sunshine is shining on these planets and on the clouds that enshroud them. These are gas giant worlds. And those clouds are very reflective. And that's why we see them so bright in our skies. That's why these planets are bright. It's because they're gigantic. They're many times bigger than the Earth. And they're highly reflective clouds that encircle them. So boom, there you are. That's why you see them. And if you have a telescope, then you can see the rings of Saturn. Here, I'll just show it to you what you can expect. If you haven't looked, it's really impressive. You'll actually see it look like this with the little rings around it. Right? How many of you have seen Saturn through a telescope? It's impressive. Let me know in the comments. I'd love to hear. And Jupiter, of course, with binoculars. This is what's so cool. With nothing more than binoculars, you'll be able to see some of the moons of Jupiter. So look at this. I'm just going to pop this in to show kind of like what you'd see through a backyard telescope, or maybe with binoculars, you'll notice little dots on either side of the disk of Jupiter. And those are moons. You see it says Ganymede and Io and Europa. Those are the names of some of the, what we call the Galilean moons, the largest moons of Jupiter, which was first spotted by Galileo, the Italian astronomer, 400 years ago. Isn't that impressive? That you can see that with a pair of binoculars. You got to hold them steady, right? Or put them on a tripod so no shaking whatsoever. But this is something you can see. It's really impressive. And then through a telescope, well, then the views get even better because then you see the cloud belts of Jupiter. These are these dark brown belts right there. And you can, those are atmospheric details of the cloud. This really impressive. Oh, I see Nancy coming in here. She saw Saturn once on Mauna Kea. Whoa, blow my mind. Mauna Kea, that must have been incredible, Nancy. Mauna Kea, for those of you that may not know, are some of the best, biggest telescopes in the world. Professional astronomers have put their telescopes up in Hawaii on some of these beautiful volcanoes. Some of them are still active, but dormant volcanoes, and they're just fantastic observing. I'm sure, Nancy, it must have been great. Yeah, super. I can imagine that. Definitely. So it's really, really, really neat to see Europa, Io, Ganymede. Also, Callisto is probably behind Jupiter at this moment where I have it in my planetarium program, but really visible even with binoculars. It's incredible. So those are the two things that are visible in terms of planets. Now, there is one more thing that I wanted to share, and that is a comet. Comet Pan-STARRS. Now, this is a little bit of a challenge out for you guys, is look for Comet Pan-STARRS. This was discovered back in 2017. It's a long period comet coming from the Oort cloud. So those of you that are not familiar with the Oort cloud, this is this giant icy reservoir at the far edges of the solar system. So we're talking beyond the orbit of Neptune, Pluto, way out there. And it's basically a giant freezer filled with hibernating comets, these giant dirty snowballs that are frozen, and they're orbiting in a donut-shaped area around the solar system. And every once in a while, they get pulled in. by the gravity of the sun as they orbit. And when they do, they start falling in towards the sun and starts melting, forming a beautiful tail, a gas tail, a dust tail. It has two different tails like that. And if we're lucky, we can actually see them from the Earth. Now, there are always comets visible in the sky, but most of them are relegated to being seen with very large telescopes and or doing long exposure photography and really dedicated amateur astronomers. Now, this one is a little bit better than that, and it hopes to be even better than what it is now. But I'm giving you a heads up of where to find it now because it's easy where it is in the sky. So let me show you. So here we are. We've got the sky set up in the evening time. This is around 10 o'clock, mid-northern latitude, around, say, the latitude of where New York, London, Rome, Tokyo, that kind of area. So if you're north of that, it'll be these stars may be a little bit closer to the horizon. If you're south of those cities, this will be higher in the sky and even easier for you. So those of you in the southern hemisphere or near the equator, this is going to be a lot easier for you folks to see this. But check this out. There's a constellation called Scorpius. Now in the southwestern part of our skies and in the evening times. And what's really neat is that you can see here a star called Antares. Now, Antares is a big red giant star about 550 light years away. It's going to go supernova one day. But for now, it shines as one of the brightest stars in the sky. You can't miss it. It's orange colored, very distinct, and it represents the eye of the scorpion, the giant arachnoid. And guess what? There is going to be a comet going right through one of the claws of this giant arachnoid, and it's the two stars that mark the end of this beautiful constellation's claw. One is called Grapheus, and the other one is called Jupa. Or Jupa, I don't know how to pronounce that, but anyways, whatever it is Jupa. These two stars just to the right of Antares, you can't miss it. They're visible to the naked eye. They're both second magnitude stars, and we've got a comet that is going to be right there in there. And in fact, if we go, this is Tuesday morning, evening. I'm getting mixed up here, sorry. So evening time, this is Tuesday evening, and I'm going to show you Wednesday evening and Thursday evening. Look at that. Wednesday, Thursday this week, it's going right between, just off center of these two stars that mark the claw of Scorpius. So if you draw an imaginary line between these two stars, just off to the right is where this comet is. Now, the comet is shining around magnitude 9. It is slowly getting brighter, might get as bright as magnitude 5 when it gets closer to the sun. It's going to reach its maximum closest approach on December 19th. But until then, it might get brighter if we're lucky. And even after it rounds, we might get a good shot at it as well. But right now, if you want to find it, it's easy to find this very faint comet just because it's between those two stars. So use your binoculars. It'll be at if you find a dark site away from light pollution, you'll get a better chance at finding this comet Pan-STARRS. As you can see, it's in the middle of these two bright stars. Let me lessen the star there. It's easier to see. Look at that. See? The two stars, these are second magnitude. They're visible to the naked eye. Even from suburban light polluted conditions, you can find these two stars. Easy with binoculars from suburbia. And you might find this very fuzzy little glow of the comet, Pan-STARRS, right there between these two bright, bona fide stars. It'll look like a fuzzy star or something. Definitely different from a point of light. Yes, Jeffrey's asking, yes, can I use my binoculars to watch my neighbors? I guess so. How about trying to watch this neighbor, this icy neighbor, and that may take millions of years to actually make a journey into the inner solar system. It's really incredible. Also, the coma, the hazy atmosphere of the head of the comet, has been measured to be 10 times bigger than our own planet Earth. Really incredible. And it's forming a train, a tail too, as it's melting because of the sun. It's forming these tails that are becoming visible. So try your hand looking for this fuzzy cotton ball between these two stars. I'll put sky charts for this so that you can find that out yourself of going out and searching for a comet. I mean, how cool is that? I mean, I think that's going to be neat. This is this week. So probably Tuesday, anytime, actually, even tonight, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday will be great time to look for this comet between those two stars that mark the claw of Scorpius. So how about that, guys? Some cool stuff for you this week. I hope you get a chance to have some clear skies in the morning or in the evening, whatever works for you. Sky watching is fantastic. I love doing it. It's so much fun. And I hope I got you inspired to see a few things. Now, if you like this video, please do hit that subscribe button. It does show a lot of support, whether you're watching on Twitch, YouTube, Facebook, or Twitter. Please support my channel and these videos that I'll bring to you every week. And of course, if you're interested more about exploring about the night sky, I invite you to check out my book, Backyard Guide to the Night Sky. That's published by National Geographic. So you know if National Geographic's involved, it's going to have some great images. I've packed it full of sky charts for beginners, stuff for even more advanced amateurs, for things, ideas, and projects, how to get your kids involved, and it's got stuff for the Southern Hemisphere as well. So it's a great overall little guidebook that you can pack and take with you wherever you go. And of course, it's not the end be all in terms of books, but it's a great beginner book, and I invite you to check that out. It's available wherever books are sold, online as well, like Amazon too. And I just looked, and it's considered one of the best-selling amateur astronomy books, still in the top 3. Yeah, thanks to you guys. Thank you so much for your support. I really appreciate it. So with that, I hope you guys liked what you heard. I'll put the sky charts on my channels, and I hope that you stay safe and healthy and have clear skies. Until next time, bye-bye.